Welcome to The Rented Seat, where we talk to leaders about the impact they make while the clock is running. I'm Lou Maiuri, and I'm joined today by Shane Clifford. And Shane, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Delighted to be here, Lou.
Maybe you can let the audience know a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your background.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I'm an Irish guy that kind of just found myself to a certain, as you know, right, when you're in an interview, you pretend that you had all of life planned out, right? You had both professionally and personally, but you and I both know that life is messy, it figures itself out along the way. So I graduated from undergrad in University of Limerick, back home in Limerick, Ireland, back in 1998, as my kids call it, the last century. And at that point, I had this naive idea that I was going to go work on Wall Street. Now you and I know the Wall Street's condos, right? Right. So I thought, I'm going to go work on Wall Street. I was fortunate enough to begin my career at Merrill Lynch. And from there, things just kind of took off. I was at Merrill and BlackRock and then so on and so forth. But I kind of found myself in asset management, and then I found myself in the alternative side of that business, and then more specifically in private markets. So 26, 27 years in, it's gone by like that, but it's been a blast.
That's awesome. Now, what was your journey? Like how you're leading private wealth at Carlyle today, which is a big position. It's a big strategic initiative. I've talked to Harvey about this. How'd you get there? Like, how did you ascend to that position? I think everyone has a story and love to hear yours.
I would tell anyone it's from the ground up, right? Unless you've done all of those basic jobs across the business. I have spent my entire career in the business side of it, not in the investment side. I've spent my entire career in distribution. We'll use that term very broadly here, right? And I've had every job. I've been in marketing, products, sales, institutional wealth, globally, different markets, Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, the US. So I've been fortunate. I would tell people that if you have the opportunity, you want to be that utility player. If you have aspirations to kind of move up through an organization, you want to along the way take those risks and kind of make yourself uncomfortable and try new things that are outside of your day-to-day. So I wasn't one of those people that ever wanted to be, a wholesaler in the Southeast, for example. Great job. But I kind of wanted to do that, but then I also wanted to do 6 other things. So I was always looking around organizations in ways that I could kind of broaden out what I could do. And I think ultimately all of those pieces, all those building blocks have led me to where I am today. I've been incredibly fortunate though, because I've had great mentors, great leaders along the way. And it's a team effort. It's not an individual thing, as you and I both know.
Right. Yeah, I want to go back to your great leaders and mentors. And I often say that everyone you ever work with or experience with, you'll learn 2 things. You'll learn what to do and what not to do. Can you possibly share, without names, what did you learn to do, and possibly something that as a leader you realize I've seen the impact that has on organizations and people and clients, something I'm not going to do?
Look, you have the opportunity in this business to work with exceptional people that are much smarter than me, much brighter, that have really had careers that I could only wish that I could have one day. But what I think some people make the mistake is that they try to emulate their boss or their mentor, as opposed to kind of taking those ingredients and then making them your own. So I remember way back when I was probably in my early 20s, youngest person in the room, in that classic kind of big conference room. And I really admired my boss at that time. And we were in private client marketing at Merrill at that point. And he would always say, you want to make sure you're the dumbest person in the room. And I always found that puzzling, because I assumed that that the head of the group was the smartest person. And then you realize that great leaders put really exceptional talent around them that are perhaps subject matter experts. But they've got that secret sauce then that they can bring to the table that puts all of that together. Right. And I learned that really early on, that it is all of the components around the table with you that actually make you successful. On the flip side, I have learned as well, ego can kill you in this business. So I think you have to really watch that. And I think everyone's got an element of ego and in any industry, but certainly ours has some strong egos at times. And those kind of stars, they go up really fast and then they burn out really fast as well. So I would say check your ego at the door and surround yourself with lots of really, really smart, bright people.
That's awesome. Thank you for that insight. Now, you're leading a lot of change and cultural change and driving a shift at Carlyle. How are you doing that? How are you leading from the front? It can be lonely. I'm sure you've got Harvey's backing, but you've got to get people behind you. And Carlyle is a large organization. How are you doing that? And what are your tactics for shifting and shaping the culture and the strategy?
Yeah, Carlyle is a fantastic place in that you still have the founders at the firm, so David, Bill, and Dan, and they're exceptional individuals. And while they may not be involved in the day-to-day per se,
Right.
they're always available to me. And they're folks that I lean on and I look for guidance. And they really, between them and Harvey and the broader C-suite, what I have available to me is really folks that I can work with and relate to. And I think at their core, if you look at the core group, there's a lot of self-made people at Carlyle.
Right.
These are all first-generation folks in terms of wealth creation, and that have exceptional stories themselves. The one common thread that I see across Carlyle today is the work ethic, and I think ultimately you've got to work hard in this business.
Right.
And if you're going to lead from the front, you've got to work harder than everyone else.
Right.
That's my personal view. Is so. I spend a lot of time out on the road. I spend a lot of time in front of our clients globally. And at times people will be like, why do you travel so much? Why are you out there so much? And I'm like, it's the only way I know how to do the business. But
Right.
two, if I'm going to ask people to work hard, then I've got to work harder than that.
Right.
And I think that's probably at the core value that I want to kind of present to my folks day to day. And then I think alongside that is you have to bring out that competitive nature in folks, and you want to. We're trying to grow a business day in, day out, and I think there is a strong kind of need to cultivate folks that want to grow something.
Right.
There's some folks in this business that kind of want to be a cog in a machine.
Right.
I'm looking for people that are scrappy, that potentially want to have a little more bite to them.
Yeah.
They want to get after it. If you want to just kind of come in and do your job and leave, then I'm probably not the right person to work with.
Yeah. That's that growth mindset with that grit.
Yeah.
Combine that and just sort of get those hungry people that are grinding every day and shape it. But the end result is you end up shaping and creating things in industries. So
A ton, and it's fun. At the end of the day, you do need to have fun. To your point, this is a hard business. You only know that. Like, you've had an exceptional career, right? And I look back here, but if you're not having fun a lot, you spend a lot of time with your colleagues.
Yeah.
I have to like the people I work with, which is a little bit of an Achilles heel for me as well, where I think some people can detach more. It's probably, I haven't been able to do that detachment. It's something I like coming to, I really love Carlyle. I love working at Carlyle. I love the fact that I get to come in every day and help grow a business. But it's hard yards, day to day on that is hard, but you look back and you see what we've achieved. And that's what kind of excites me, and that's what continues to drive me. And hopefully that energy kind of resonates with the broader team.
I haven't perfected that work-life thing either, but I often say to folks, you should love what you do and like who you're doing it with. Because if you're going to be away from your family for 10, 15, traveling for weeks around the world, those things have to be there. And when they're there, I think it propels you. And honestly, we do have to find that work-life balance. Life doesn't stand still; it moves forward, and the clock is ticking with respect to that. So, I want to shift to shifts in our industry, because change and transformation and adaptation is always something that leaders have to lead through. And we've talked a lot about private markets. You guys are right in the middle of this whole thing. The institutional world has been allocating to privates for 10, 15 years, and it's been a nice diversification play. What do you see from your seat in the industry as we think about the wealth industry? How are you guys leading through that? Education's important. The other thing I'd say is not all private markets managers are the same, right? Like any public markets, they're not the same. You have up in quality type of providers and then those that aren't. But maybe you can just share some insight. We're in the middle of this change right now. And how are you guys seeing it, and how are you leading through that?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time. Ultimately, look, I would put it this way to folks in a very basic level. That structural shift has occurred, and I think now you need to think about capital, and it can be public and it can be private. You should have exposure to both, because I think what firms like yours and others have done a really great job of is education around diversification. And I think if you want portfolio completion for an end client, you have to have that private markets component to it today. And I know AssetMark does a really, really good job of doing that now. So from my seat, what are we trying to do? We are trying to take our institutional capabilities across our private equity, our private credit, and our secondaries and co-investment businesses and bring them to the wealth market. I think we need to be careful about how we do it. This is a different animal. It's a different breed. I refer to these as semi-illiquid funds in an evergreen structure. And it is an interesting time. I still think we're in the early innings of it. Education is everything, and I think that's where we're in it together. And I think even my peer group, I think I've got great peers that are alongside us on this journey as well. So I think if we focus on education, if we talk about the benefits from portfolio construction perspective and the diversification, we'll get there in the end. But I think we're probably 2-3 innings into this so far.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're in the early innings. What are the risks possibly for retail? Well, what should retail investors or advisors be thinking about as they lean into these asset classes? Because I do believe it's a diversification play. We know there's alpha in these assets, but what should they be thinking about and asking themselves and their clients?
I think the one thing that they need to talk to their clients about is the liquidity of these vehicles. And ultimately, these are not mutual funds in the traditional public equity. If we use that as example, this is not a large cap value fund, right? So I do think that there's an onus upon the advisor to be very clear in terms of what we're talking about here from liquidity, and what that ultimately means. So I would very much appreciate it if everyone listening to this would remind end clients that this should really sit in the illiquid bucket within their overall thought. But so, yes, it's got quarterly, these vehicles have quarterly redemptions whenever, but that's the one thing that I keep hammering home on at the moment. And hopefully more and more people listen to that. But I think as an industry, we're maturing around that. I think the markets are going to be choppy here going forward, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But there's an upside for us right now as a firm.
Well, Shane, thank you for being a partner with us at AssetMark in this journey that we're on. And thank you for sharing your insights with us. We really appreciate you being here.
Absolute pleasure.
All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The seat is rented, the clock is running, and the leaders we admire are the ones that can shift and adapt and transform and lead companies through change. Stick around for more episodes of The Rented Seat.